Hi everyone, my name is Max Michon, co-owner and trainer at Ready Set Train, and in today's video we're going to go over how to teach your dog a target behavior. Teaching your dog a target behavior can be super beneficial for a lot of different reasons. For me and my dogs, I used a targeting behavior as my come when called. So it helps to get them used to having your hands around their head, around their neck. It can also be used to teach complex tricks like spin or weave through your legs. It can even be used to teach your dog to turn on and off light switches or open doors. So targeting is a very versatile behavior to teach your dog. So in today's video, we're going to show you guys a couple of easy targeting behaviors to start with, like a hand target, or we're going to use a target stick as well later on in the video. A hand target is usually what most people do to teach their dogs how to target initially. It's easy for the dog to do. And like I said, it adds the benefit of getting your dog used to having your hand around their head, their collar, their neck area. So we're going to go over that now. So when we start teaching our dogs a hand target, we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to make sure that that signal is really exaggerated and easy for the dog to see us doing it. We're also going to present our hand at or below our dog's nose level. We don't want to put it way up high where they're going to jump, or it's going to be difficult for them to hit their nose to our hand. And then we're also going to present that nose target very close to the dog's nose. So at first, maybe just an inch or two away. We want to make them super successful, the most likely that they're actually going to do this behavior. And then what we can also do finally is add a little bit of movement once we present that target in front of their nose. By moving away from the dog, a lot of times that actually triggers them to come towards us and bop their nose to our hand. So I'll give you a couple examples now. I say when you're doing this, almost pretend like you're throwing a yo-yo down in slow motion. You can see Winslow already wants to come over. But that exaggerated motion right in front of the dog, and then I'm going to use a clicker, or you could use your marker word to mark the second their nose touches your hand. So come here, Winslow. So there's a couple of tips that I can give if your dog is struggling with this behavior. One is look at your hand. Our dogs watch our eyes and they pay attention to what we're looking at. So if I'm sitting there staring at my dog while my hand is down, they might just sit there and stare back at you. The other, like we talked about before, is to add a little bit of movement because dogs like to follow that motion. It's called oppositional reflex. So if you move into the dog, they move away. If you move away from the dog, they're going to move into you. So that can help get the dogs moving and get them excited about this behavior. Finally, a lot of dogs already know like a shake behavior, and when you're right in front of the dog, sometimes some dogs will start to offer that paw. So again, if you add the movement, a lot of times that'll take care of it, but you could also use something else as an initial target for your dog to hit. I do a lot of those can caps. Those are nice, especially if you put it over dog food for a while. Dogs want to come over and bop their nose to it. You could use a sticky note. You could use something else initially to get your dog to come and target your hand. So you're going to start to add distance slowly. If you started by presenting that hand target just a couple inches away from the dog's nose, don't jump to 100 feet after that. Small approximation. So now we're doing a foot, now 2 feet, 5, 10. Do it slowly. If at any point your dog struggles, go back and make it easier, make them successful. Once your dog is reliably coming and tapping their nose to your hand, that's when we can add a word for this. So some people say touch, you could say come, you could say hit. It doesn't really matter the word, but you need to say that word before you present that hand target. So I would say Winslow's name to get his attention if he's not paying attention. He's looking at me now. So I say touch, I put that hand down. And that, by separating those two events just slightly, is the way that he's going to learn the word touch. Mark when his nose touches my hand. Touch. And then practice this going back and forth between left and right hands. Winslow. Winslow. Touch. And that's how you're going to start teaching your dog a hand target. So after you have practiced with a hand target for a little bit, that's a good time to then start to introduce a new object. So this is just a target stick. They make a lot of different types of target sticks. I have a smaller one here that you can extend out or make smaller. Really what helps at first is if that target stick is actually pretty big, if there's a big area for the dog's nose to hit, that's going to make it more likely that they're going to bop that target and we can actually mark the behavior. We're going to start in a very similar way to the way that we started teaching the hand target. I am going to have this target stick, I'm going to choke up on the stick pretty far, right up next to the top buoy section where I want the dog to hit. And I'm going to do a hand motion just like I did with them targeting my hand. So I'm going to try to make it as similar as possible. And then if Winslow comes over and touches his nose to right now anywhere close to that target, any approximation, I'm going to mark it and I'm going to reward it. So I'll see if I can get him in frame here so we can see him do this. So he thought about it, he did one of those drive-bys, and then I just stared at that little target for a couple of seconds, and he came over, and he didn't quite touch it 100%, but he got close. So at first, this is brand new. I'm trying to get small approximations. I'm going to try adding a little bit of movement again. Winslow doesn't choke on his treat. There, we're starting to get it. So again, if you look at what you want the dog to interact with, that can help a lot. Winslow. What we want, and we'll do this a little bit faster than maybe we would normally do, since this is still brand new for Winslow, but what we slowly start to do is move our hand farther and farther away from the end of this target stick. So I'm going to move back a little bit more. Eventually, we want to be able to have the hand all the way at the end of the target stick, and Winslow still comes over and touches the top part of the buoy. If Winslow doesn't touch the bottom of the buoy, I can try to see if he'll correct himself and go and touch that bottom part. Again, I'm looking at the spot that I want him to touch. If he makes an approximation, if he starts to just go towards that area, I'll click in a reward or mark and reward that at the moment. Small approximations when we start to make this harder for the dog. If we really see that they're unsuccessful for a long period of time, what we want to do is actually just go back a full step and make it easier for them. So Winslow just touched there, so we'll try a couple more. Again, I'm presenting that right in front of his nose. He does not have to do a lot of work or a lot of movement to touch this. And it's starting to look different than that hand target because my hand isn't right there anymore. I'm slowly moving it a little bit farther and a little bit farther away. So it takes the dog a little bit of time to figure this out, that, oh, I'm supposed to touch that bottom part of this stick. If they're doing well, we slowly bring that target stick a little bit farther and a little bit farther away like we were before, adding distance just like with the hand target, and we can continue to slide our hand farther and farther down the pole. Try one more, buddy. Thinking about it. There we go. Good boy. So wrapping up with our targeting behaviors. It's an easy behavior for your dogs to learn. It's one of the basic behaviors that we teach in all of our good manners classes. And it's very versatile. So you can use it. I use it for a come when called for my dogs. You can use it to train other tricks, as we've said before. Make it easy for them. Do this in baby steps. So start presenting those targets very close to the dog and slowly add distance. That's what's going to make you the most successful, is if you just do that in small increments. And then you can have fun. Figure out some interesting targets that your dog could go and target their nose to. Once they get good at nose targeting, you can start to have them use other parts of their body, like their paw. There's lots of different things that you can get the dog to target with.
And then finally, you don't need to spend $1,000 and go spend a bunch of money on target sticks. You could make it on your own. You could use a ruler, you could use a broom handle, you could fashion your own. You could use, like we talked about earlier, those can lids or a Post-it note. So the big thing is have fun with your dog, teach them this behavior, and the sky's kind of the limit of where you want to take it to. Thanks for watching, guys.